taking your energy, is making you miserable. There's no growth in it. There's no expansion. There's no opportunity. Let that stuff go. Hi guys, welcome back to Shima Saba. So today I'm diving deep into a topic that pretty much resonates with all of us, and that is stability. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some strategies and concepts that I've been implementing in my life that's been helping with me. Just to let you guys know that I don't have any of this stuff 100% figured out. I'm just showing you guys the course of my life, the things that I'm using to get me from point A to point B. With that being said, I want to share with you guys a little bit about me, my background, and why me having more stability in my life is so important to me. So in the beginning of my childhood, I moved from, after my parents broke up, we moved from place to place with my mom. So we moved from different towns, we moved to different cities. And in this one particular year when I was in the 8th grade, so all this moving began from 3rd grade until 8th grade. I didn't have that much structure in my life. My 5th grade year, we moved to this town, like the 2nd semester. And then when I was in the 6th grade, I began middle school. So I spent like 5 months at this new place, and then immediately I went to middle school. So I felt out of place. I felt disconnected. Like everyone knew each other for a very long time. I had missed my friends back at home that I was in school with, and I knew those kids for a very long time, but we eventually fell out of contact. You know, we were elementary kids at this time. So, and then not to mention just the background of kids. So different type of economic background. And so going to this new town, and these kids all knew each other, and there's a different, you know, socio-economic background with them. This all caused me a lot of that, on top of other things, like when my parents split up. All those things cause a lot of issues for my development of like stability, of having consistency in my life. So it took me until the 8th grade. It took me 3 years to figure things out, to finally get comfortable with the environment. So I was there at that school for 3 years. And so by that time, I finally got comfortable. Everything was consistent at that time. So I started to excel in school. I started to doing very good, great academically. I was voted most studious student. I was also a part of National Junior Honor Society. I remember I also met with the mayor, and not only did I excel academically, I excel like with sports as well. In middle school, I ran track on the high school team. I don't know how, but I got an MVP trophy for track. I was also a cheerleader, so I got an MVP trophy for cheer that year. All of this happened at the same year. This was like towards the end of the school year. And I also just got, I guess, like honored into being on the basketball team. So I was going to be on I think it was the varsity team, and I didn't have to try out because the coach that coached me for track just put me on the basketball team. And I was also a good shooter, so I was kind of like a shooting guard. I used to just like play house all the time, so I just had that good little free throw. And I remember like the highlight of my track year, I remember this one meet that we had. I ran so fast and so hard till the point my shoe came off. And I remember this day I had mismatching socks, and I had a red sock. I ran so fast my shoe came off, and I won. So that was really cool. So I had that structure, I had that stability, and I had that consistency and everything. And so right when everything's going well, you know, I got all these accolades, all these good things happening. I think this was the very last day of school. Immediately after that, 3 days later, my mom's situation fell through, like her relationship that she had with somebody else, and we immediately moved to a completely different city. So I started over with high school, like so many different kids. It was, you know, back again, I have to start over from ground one. So I know that was a lot, but I promise I will tie this all together so it can make sense for you guys. And notice in my life, there's always this thing that happens. So when things are going well, everything just ends. Like everything just like shuts down. And I noticed within myself that I don't have too much consistency. So I kind of tend to not really give my all to things, because I feel like eventually things are going to be taken away, or things are eventually going to end. So I feel like what would remedy this would be more stability, more consistency in those areas where I feel a lot of things keep having high highs and low lows. Today I want to share with you guys what's helping me is more consistency. So in this moment, instead of me being hard on myself, instead of me giving up, and instead of me just lazing around, which, you know, sometimes if you have those moments, it's okay. I don't want this to be my entire experience because the body keeps the score. So in order for me just to have more structure in my life, no matter what's going on outside of my life, I feel like I need to have more groundedness, because like I said earlier, I tend to not give my all on things because I feel like they're going to be just taken away. I need to have some consistency. I need to have some structure so that my body get used to this frequency of consistency, this frequency of stability. So I like to get started with you guys, these concepts that I've been using that's been helping me currently, and I hope you guys can try this out so maybe it can help you guys too. For one, I like to start off with a good routine. So on the weekends, I tend to edit my videos, I tend to film my videos, but during the week, I really have a much more structured time when I do things in the morning from the time I go to sleep at night. So the very first thing in the morning is I think about my day. So I already have my weekend. On the weekends, I already know what I'm gonna do. But the very first thing in the morning, I like to think about what am I going to do this day. I have to think about, visualize. So at this time, I'm going to do this, and at this time, I'm going to do that. And I sit there and I think about those things, and as well as I think about what the overall arching thing that I want in my life. So I just visualize what exactly is that I want to be. Where do I want to be? And I think about that, and I sit there in the morning time and sit in that state for a bit. After that, I make up my bed. I get up after the bed, I feed my cats, then I go straight into making my breakfast. And then I immediately begin to read. My favorite book right now that I'm currently reading is this book. It's called I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Raymond Sethi. So I set my timer to read that book for 25 minutes straight. So there's a thing that I realized with me, in order for me to get things done, in order for me to not feel overwhelmed, because I tend to procrastinate. And so in order for me to get the things that I want to get, I had to master my mind. I'll time myself for 25 minutes straight. I'll take a 5-minute break, and then within that 5-minute break, I will reward myself. Via it be me watching a good show, via it be me eating a cool snack, but not nothing that's like crazy or unhealthy, because I try to eat keto. That after I, do my work and my tasks, I go straight to the gym around 5 o'clock, and then I do my workouts for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then after that, I go and I sit in the sauna. So when I come back home, after I do all these good things for myself, I take care of my business, I do my works, and I do my tasks, I come home and I reward myself for that as well. But me just doing this every day, and instead of it feeling like it's a burden for me, instead of this feeling like work for me, what gets me through all these things are the small rewards. And so as I look back on everything, I see, wow, I'm really doing good for myself. I'm proud of myself pushing through this day. Even for me right now, you guys, I didn't feel like recording this video. But you know what I said? I said, I promised myself that I was going to do this. I said I wanted to do this. I'm going to do this because of what I want to be eventually. And for me, instead of me waiting for so long to reward myself in the future, I'm rewarding myself today by even doing this. And so it's not something big like, oh, I'm going to go celebrate at the club with my friends and pop some bottles. No, I do these little small things. It gives me like those immediate rewards really work for me. So those types of immediate rewards really, I see them to be very beneficial. So maybe eventually you can try that out if you have that same thing of feeling overwhelmed or feeling like you procrastinate and feeling like you don't want to do these different tasks. Try to time yourself. Set a timer for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and just keep doing that. And in those 5-minute breaks, just do something that you enjoy. And it doesn't have to be anything so big or anything so major. Just like something that gets the dopamines, like sets off the pleasures, activation systems in your brain. So let's try that out. I feel like with consistency, for me, is the overall picture, but it's also the small wins. That's what keeps me going, because if I'm doing something for 10, if I'm gonna do something for 10, 12 hours and I don't do no break, I definitely don't want to do that. It's like you gotta treat yourself like You gotta treat yourself like you're a kid. Like no kid would want to do that. So you gotta think about, okay, what's the best way to get this kid to do that? Not saying that you guys are kids, but it's just like the brain is very, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll put it right here, but I'm gonna say immature. It could be very, our brains out of stuff like that could be very immature. So you have to figure out how to overcome it, because you know what you want, and you know sometimes it's hard to get there, but these are certain things you have to do. You know, a lot of people say you got to do this, that, and third, but reward yourself for the small goals. Reward yourself for the small wins. Don't sit there and wait all these years to reward yourself. Do it today, and that is what helps you to remain consistent. That's what keep you going. Those little things that's what's working for me. These little things I've noticed I've been consistent for the past 3 weeks. Now, the old me, I've been doing this for a couple of days and then we were right on back. But by me setting these little rewards are really helping me out. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, I don't like where I am, and I also want to be where I'm going to be. So that in a combination of these little small wins and stuff like that keeps me going. I said this so many times to you guys. I hope you guys understand that concept. I hope it makes sense to you, because I want to move on to the next subject. So the next subject is to create a realistic goal. Do something that you know that you can do this in a reasonable amount of time. Like, for example, if you want to start your business, so there's probably 10 or 12 steps that you need to do. So this is like you go from point A and you go to point B. And within those points are probably 12 steps. And so break those things down in a way that you can remain consistent. So you're not saying you're gonna sit here and launch a freaking business and let's say the very next day. Let's sit here and set little things out, structure it out, set it out. So for example, this week I'm gonna do step 1 and 2. Just have those realistic expectations. And if you can't do 1 and 2, go the next week and see if you can add what you didn't do on that previous week. But try to have a timeline of when you want to have these things down, and make the timeline very realistic for your specific situation. For me to continue to do what I am doing, for me to get to be where I want to be, it's not easy, but I'll make it enjoyable for myself. I'm not making this miserable. So I'm the type of person where whatever I do, I like to have joy in it. And if it's like a mundane task, best believe I'm gonna make it a way for me to enjoy doing it. You know what I'm saying? The third thing I wanna talk to you guys is about prioritizing self-care, self-help. So like I mentioned earlier, where I said I like to work out and I go to the sauna, and I also like to do yoga. I work out for at least 3 to 4 times a week. I have to do lower bar twice a week and I do upper bar twice a week. But in the middle of that, I'll make sure I do yoga. All these different types of things, you know, like when you're working and you're challenging yourself, you know, working out in the beginning is so hard, but then, you know, eventually it gets easy because you're going over that threshold, you know, and that type of mindset helps you when life gets hard. So when things are not going your way, instead of you giving up, you keep going. You develop a hopeful mindset. You know, you don't just sit here and be a victim to your circumstances. Like, it kind of give you a sense of mindfulness. You know, when you're doing these types of things, you don't have nothing to think about than the pain that you're going through. You're not thinking about all this stuff outside of you. You're not thinking about the bills when you're going through these workouts. You're thinking about the building, the muscles are wearing and tearing. When you're going through yoga, you're thinking about all the stretches, how the pain it feels to get through these little stretches when your ligaments are adjusting to these different types of movement. You're not thinking about all of that, right? But you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna keep going, because you know eventually the pain is going to stop. And so that's eventually the type of thing when you are taking care of yourself. When you are putting look at me, I sound like a preacher today. When you're taking care of yourself, when you are doing these different types of things, it develops a sense of mindfulness. It takes your mind off of the negativity, you know what I'm saying? And it helps you develop a sense of hope. You know, hope is very important to have. Having a pessimistic outlook on life will mess your life up. Having a pessimistic lifestyle will have you around pessimistic people. And then what would that do? Mess up your life. And so if you don't have these things, if you don't have optimistic people, if you don't have hopeful people, look to channels like mine, look to people like, you know, that will help you to be hopeful, help you to think positive about yourself. Like I was saying, if you don't have hope, try to develop a sense of hope, because having hope, optimism will transform your life when these moments of instability happens. Because when you have this hope, you're going down. So just think of like a mountain, right? So everything is going good, and then everything's stable, everything's consistent, and then in the middle you get this crisis, you go down, right? But then when you have this optimism, you start to believe, you start to think, okay, I can get back to where I was. Okay, I can get back to where I was. You know, I can get back to where I used to be. Oh no, forget where I used to be. I can go up even more than when I was. You know what I'm saying? So that, in a way, is overcoming the instability in your life. Try mindfulness. Try to take care of yourselves. So these are the things that I have been doing too, and keeping to it. No, this is also entitled to my routine. Keeping to it, keeping consistency with these things, keeping consistent with your goals, keeping consistent with your mindset, keeping consistent with your body, keeping consistent with your health. And then eventually all these things will just feel like it'll be a part of your life. It'll just be, you won't have to try. It will just be your life. So we all here, we all make mistakes. We are here to grow. We are here to learn. We are all here to evolve. Don't feel bad about yourself. Just keep going. Having a sense of continuous learning and continuous growth. Just like I was saying at the beginning of, just like I just finished up, like saying that you was consistent, you fell down and you start having hope and you're rising, you're gonna, just like how your life, you're gonna grow. So for me, I'm continuously learning about myself. I love to do self-reflection. When things are not going well for me, I think about what was my mindset at that time? What are my beliefs? What can I do to overcome this? Because I know where I wanna be, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes me to be to where I wanna be, because the only person that's holding me back from where I wanna be is myself. And so, you know, doing research, learning about different types of ways how people are overcoming things, motivation, and also just learning about the brain, learning about the human experience, continuously learning about what it is that you wanna do. Whatever thing that you were weak in, work on that so you can evolve in that, whatever that little flaw is. Because, you know, like, exactly, we all have flaws, but we're talking about stability here, right? So if we're not overcoming these challenges, if we're not overcoming these things that are holding us back, eventually it's going to come to the surface. And so you have to check yourself, you have to check in, you have to be accountable, and have to really realize, okay, you're not a bad person because of something bad happens to you. It's just like an area where you're not as strong, you know, and it's just okay. You know, you can go back, you grow, you learn, you go back, you learn, you grow, you evolve. Whatever this flaw was, like sometimes you guys, like, you can have like this really big challenge that happens to you, and it's a thing that happened that you can realize you went throughout your entire life. And once you figure that out and you start to heal from that, you grow from that, you learn from that, you can begin to teach others from that. You can be of help and you can be of service to others, because there are so many people who are probably suffering and don't know what to do. And all it is that they're waiting for is like someone like you to go and help them, to tell them what is it I have to do. Those are types of things. You know, I never really thought about these things of like routine. Of course I knew routine, and of course I knew prioritizing things, but just as well as having a growth mindset, just thinking in that way, it also helps you with being stable. It makes sense now that I think about it, because it keeps you ahead instead of keeping you behind. Have this growth mindset, it keeps you stable, it keeps you checked, it keeps you balanced. So the fourth one is to be flexible. Things, challenges, and stuff like that happens in life. You're gonna go through these dips, but that's the human experience. You know what I'm saying? If you look at like a whole chart, I'm gonna find a chart in this share with you guys, but if you look at a chart and you can see, if you look at your life, and you know you had these going, it's kind of what I showed you guys earlier. There's ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. Keeps going up though, you know. You have to be flexible during those down times, and then eventually You know, if you think about it, those down times eventually become less chaotic. Once you overcome like these really big problems, you know, problems are going to happen. And then when other problems show up, you're going to know what to do with those problems, because you're going to think, oh, I've been here before. Oh, I know what this is. I recognize this. And you're going to overcome it that much quicker. That's all the human life is about. It's never ever going to just be, you know, straight across like this, like horizontally all your life. No, it's not going to be that way. We're here to learn. We're here to learn from each other. We're here to love each other. We're here to help one another. We're here to care and empathize with one another. So this knowledge that you have, that someone else have, you can learn from them. Just like everything that I'm speaking of right now, I've learned it because other people have gone through this and they've overcame it. And it helps you on your journey of your life. Flexibility with that whole concept is to being adaptable. So stay open to different types of possibilities, different types of challenges that may happen. Focus on the future, focus on your goals instead of thinking about the challenges, because that keeps you stuck. Though so many times you can get fixated on certain things. Another thing is, I want to say this is practice detachment, practice letting things go that does not serve you. No matter how hard you may try to make this thing work, but if you see that the more you get into it, it's holding you down, it's taking your energy, it's making you miserable, there's no growth in it, there's no expansion, there's no opportunity, let that stuff go. You want this guy, you want him to be this certain way, you want him to show up for you, but he's not showing up to you that way. He's showing up to you as he is. You need to let that guy go. You need to let him go, and everything that you want, that you want to have, it can happen for you. But certain times it's the circumstance or situation that what you want is presented itself within the shape. It's not going to be in that situation. But what you want to have, it could probably still happen, but it can happen in a different way that it presents itself. So that's all about letting go of what didn't serve you, but not letting go of what your heart is calling and telling you. Just letting go of the situation the way it's presenting itself. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment on my videos, share my videos. If this is very insightful, if this is something that you feel like you want to talk to me about, leave a comment or just like message me, because I feel like it's important I feel like these types of topics and stuff like this, these self-development areas in life are very, very crucial. You don't have to be alone doing this. You can learn from other people. You can reach out to other people. I am here to help you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, and make sure you guys subscribe and share my video. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Peace.